So your ex-husband is needed, but he's your ex-husband. Mine didn't come. I go through them alone now, and it hurts every time.
I want to talk about our marriage. Like, I'm not happy. It feels like we're roommates at this point.
People view divorce as a failure. But for other situations, I see divorce as a failure of a system.
I just don't understand why you would get married then.
Ruined not just my marriage, but my entire life. I left him for absolutely no reason. I remember, like, they've been together for a long time. So I understand you want something new.
Welcome back to More to Life. Now, before we get into this video, I ask that you like, comment, subscribe. Also, smash that notification bell just to be sure you get on my videos as soon as I release them. Let's get right into this.
Me calling my ex-husband while we were separated because I was having a panic attack and he was my safe person. Him coming to pick me up even though I was the one divorcing him. I completely understand this. I did it several times. I struggle with the sadness of the decision, but it was needed. So your ex-husband is needed, but he's your ex-husband. Mine didn't come. I go through them alone now, and it hurts every time.
Childish, self-centered attitude.
There is a disconnect happening where women are leaving their men, yet expecting them to stay and keep performing their husbandly duties.
This is why the guy didn't go. I don't think anybody should go. He's going through turmoil. And you're putting him through more because he's still helping you. The person you depend on, he's still your shoulder you can cry on. Find someone else. Call your mom. Stop putting him through hell.
Do you think if he called her having a panic attack that she'd even pick up the phone? Being expected to constantly provide and care for people who have given up on them is not good for men's souls and their growth. It is beating them down mentally. Men already feel overlooked for their personalities and love to give, and feel more used for what they can provide, and crap like this is exactly why. Even if it's not your intention, it is so incredibly manipulative to break up with a guy and then expect him to console you through the breakup. Stop using your exes as free therapists. Move on, and let them move on in peace.
Couldn't agree more.
Yeah, this is tragic. This is tragic. Men have to go through this, but you hear story after story. Another one dragging her man through this turmoil. In the next video, she's doing the same thing as well. Mad because he moved on, which he should. You divorced him, and she was with him for a long time, but can't get over the fact that he moved on so fast.
Watching my ex thrive, it's a beautiful thing, but it's really triggering for me because I walked away with literally having to start over. After 12 years of starting over, of wondering if I'm going to be able to keep a roof over my head with my boys.
We do not care.
And not being able to just go out and play in our backyard like we used to. And wondering if I'm going to be able to feed them.
This is what happened. You already know. Most of y'all know. She depended on him to keep things organized. That man balanced the checkbook. He made sure food was in the kitchen fridge. She made sure dinner was cooked, but he made sure everything was provided for the kids, made sure the kids had new clothes when they went to school. He made sure everything was paid. And then once she took him out the picture, she didn't see it. She didn't see he made her life easier. And he complimented her, just like she complimented him. Only thing she thought about was, oh, he left dishes in the sink. This man is the reason why you're comfortable. Oh, he left dishes in the sink. He left his clothes on the floor. Pick him up. But this is what's happening. And then they get triggered right after. I think men watching this, we understand what's going on. We definitely don't care.
I can remember when I told my ex-husband I wanted a divorce. It was December 2019, and he was completely shocked, completely caught off guard, like dumbfounded, devastated, everything else. But the month before that, November of 2019, I remember very clearly having yet another talk with him about how unhappy I was. But this particular conversation, he was in his man cave room playing video games, which was like his favorite activity. And I go walking in and I tell him, like, I really want to talk about our marriage. Like, I'm not happy. It feels like we're roommates at this point and I don't really have a partner, blah, blah, blah. This man was wearing his headphones because he was playing with a friend and they like talked to each other. He didn't even take his headphones off. He just pulled it off his right ear. This is almost 4 years ago now. I can still remember he pulled it off his right ear. And he didn't pause the game or stop playing. He continued to play a video game while his wife was standing in front of him, telling him how unhappy she was in the marriage. And I remember when he said to me something about like marriage being forever and whatever. And I said to him, well, maybe some marriages aren't meant to last. And he got so mad at me for saying that. But he didn't stop playing video games to have the conversation with me. And if that doesn't perfectly sum up why I divorced.
You divorced him? That was one of your reasons, but the man is enjoying himself. And you come to him, I want to speak to you for 10 minutes. Or I want to speak to you for a minute. Which takes 20 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour. Because you feel a certain way. You come bother that man while he's with one of his compadres playing a game. That could be the one time a week that he plays the game. Was he working? Was he working every day? Was this a weekend day? Was this a day off? This was probably his quiet time. And you're destroying it. She doesn't realize she's saying this, and we can see this. And you're saying divorces happen. Pretty much for situations like you're going through. Of course you're going to be upset. Why is that the first thing you run to? Let me let it finish.
This man, then I don't know what does. And I feel like this is a very common trend. I hear about this type of stuff a lot, where the wife had expressed her concerns for months or even years, and then when she finally says, all right, I've done everything I could do, I want a divorce, then the husband's like, what do you mean? What's happening? I love you. Please don't leave me. Please don't take my kids from me. It's like, you should have put in effort. You had the opportunity. We give you so many opportunities to do the right thing. You chose not to. This is now the repercussions of your actions. Am I wrong?
Yeah, you are wrong, right? Because you're boggling him like, just like the other one said, oh, I need him. You're about to get, she was about to get kicked out of her house. Her husband was her backbone. And I'm sure this man is your backbone in certain ways too. But you never look at that. All you see is the pain. You never see the sunshine. And now he has to go through rain. He has to go through pain because you divorce him. And then he's your backbone, or you're mad because he can't be a backbone, or you contact him to be your backbone. Like, are we divorced or are we not? It doesn't make sense. Just yesterday, I reacted to a video of a girl, she wanted him back after divorcing him 3 years ago. Like, this is a constant thing. It's a problem. And now they're in US, they're doing away with divorce. It's happening. No divorce is really coming. And they're not ready. They're already crying, oh, it's going to be like the 1920s. You should see it. You should see them carrying on. I'm sitting there. My wife is looking at me going, they're reacting like that? I'm like, yeah. My wife couldn't even understand how bad it was. But it's bad. Because I'll be damned. My wife starts complaining about some nonsense when I'm truly the provider. And that's what's happening to these guys. And I feel bad for them.
I think even in society, we're taught that like when a divorce happens, you failed. And oh, I failed. Oh, that was the hardest thing to face. Also because I couldn't speak to people about it. Oh my God, I'm getting emotional. I couldn't speak to people about it because I didn't have the safety net of the home base to lean on. His family became my family. But When the divorce happened, I knew that eventually that was going to fade. And I think that, not to take away from who he was in my life, but that was so painful. I was losing the family members that I grew so close to, that validated my feelings, that listened to me.
Yeah. Now, that feeling you were feeling is because you did fail. But you're propped up by other ladies that say, oh, I'm a divorce specialist because they've been through a divorce, have their degrees, and coach you through things on TikTok that you think it's okay. No, it's failing. That grief you're feeling, you should be feeling.
Some people view divorce as a failure. And for some people, it is a failure. I mean, you may have failed your partner, and that's why the divorce is happening. But for other situations, I see divorce as a failure of a system, not of individual people. And I don't blame people for wanting an out. You never know what's impacting people personally, and you never know what's really going on inside a person's relationship. I mean, I'm divorced, and the reasons really baffled a lot of people for a long time. I mean, they knew our relationship wasn't perfect, but we were a damn good partnership. We really cared about each other. We did a lot together. We accomplished a lot together. That was the best partner I think I've ever had. And we're divorced because at the end of the day, it just didn't make sense for us to stay together. It just didn't make sense. I want anyone I know and love and care about to understand that I support their happiness and their sanity and their mental health. And that honestly, all the people I know whose parents are still together, it's not always a brag.
For my new single life checklist.
I know lots of people whose parents are still together after 30, 40, 50 years, and their parents hate each other. And I mean hate. You know it's bad when you argue in front of guests, which is something that I've witnessed a lot of my friends' parents do, my partner's parents do. And their husbands aren't treating them with kindness. They're not speaking to each other with kindness. And they say, oh, that's just like bitter, old, grumpy people. I don't want to grow old with someone I don't like.
I am a proud, single woman.
I always wonder, who does that benefit? It doesn't benefit you. It doesn't benefit the children because your kids are seeing you not like your partner. They're seeing you not treat them with kindness and treat them with bitterness. It's in favor of a system. It benefits a system, right? And that system is failing, and it's okay to say this doesn't work for me.
Oh, accountability.
Right?
It's not a system. It's a union. It doesn't work for me. It doesn't work like that. People forget that this is done in the eyes of God. Unless it was done in the court system and, by the state of Colorado, we now pronounce you man and wife. Even still, I believe they still say this is seen in the eyes of God. So, yes, it's not a system. It's not something you leave. And what's happening now is with these new laws that are going to be passed, that's why. Because you've been abusing the union for so many years. And the government's finally got tired of it and said, we can't have this done anymore. But let me hear more talking about how they were failed by the system or how she was failed by the system because she doesn't like a guy. When there's a problem, me and my wife talk it out. That's how it's supposed to be done. Talk until you're blue in the face.
That's what we do, right? Yeah.
Right. I take, for example, my parents who divorced after almost 30 years. I was in my 20s and we were like, why are you together? And it's not because they fought all the time or anything like that. Nothing like that. In fact, it was the opposite. We just were like, you guys are not compatible. My parents had pet names for each other. They kissed each other hello and goodbye. They communicated very well. I never got the sense that my parents didn't like each other. In fact, whenever we tried to talk crap about my dad, my mom would always step in. She wouldn't say we were wrong, but she would say, don't talk about your dad like that. I didn't really see my parents' divorce as the end of love or, they didn't give me a terrible example or anything like that. In fact, I witnessed my parents become happy, healthier people. By the time my parents separated and divorced, we were adults. I'm one of 4 siblings, and we were adults. So we were there to be able to support our parents and say, okay, yes, this is the best thing for you all. At the end of the day, I felt even more comfortable, confident. I felt a lot of less shame and guilt in my own divorce. I think the world is a better place when we're free to be happy and healthy. Do what works best for you.
No comment. Next question.
I absolutely
absolutely went into marriage knowing I was going to become a divorcee. There was no question in my mind. I knew at some point we would get divorced. The only question mark was when.
I just don't understand why you would get married then. Has our society really gone downward into thinking the most sacred thing that two people can do can just be easily forgotten and you can opt out when things get hard? I mean, that's not what marriage is. And if so, then what's the point?
I don't know, brother. I don't know.
Let's say if you get a divorce, would you consider that as defeat?
Yes. Yeah. You should be upset. I am divorced. That's a ding on my record. That is a failure. I failed. I mean, he also failed. You know, I'm not bent out of shape about it because I got the man of my dreams. But you should look at divorce as a failure. I don't know why you wouldn't.
Yeah.
You chose poorly, and now you've wasted each other's time.
Interesting.
Would you say it's a failure if you were able to give birth to children and like your children ended up in like a good place and they have a successful future?
No, it's still a failure. It's beautiful that the children are here. Most parents don't regret their kids that innately, but it is still a failure. You chose poorly, you reproduced, now these children don't have a father in the home, but we're so used to it, we think that it's okay, but the outcomes are still negative. Like, I grew up in a single mother home. I had a lot of risk factors that I had to solve myself in the dating market, and that's something that doesn't get talked about. It's all about this eat, pray, love.
Now, we finally have some woke woman to tell you it is a failure. I mean, for you to walk around thinking you didn't fail, you failed. You failed at everything you wanted to do. That dream wedding you had, that's what got you happy. Now you have to do the work in the marriage. So you failed.
So Tia Marie says, I ruined not just my marriage, but my entire life by leaving my husband. I left him for absolutely no reason. He was very nice to me. I regret leaving my husband. I was distracted by another man who promised he would treat me better.
Congratulations, you played yourself.
But he didn't. I didn't see this episode, but I definitely want to tap in. And I probably should watch it before I give an opinion on this. But I'm here now, so let me just say what I'm going to say. First and foremost, I respect her for coming out and saying this. You know what I'm saying? For being vulnerable, being 100, and just being honest. I fumbled a good man. You know what I mean? Because oftentimes it's the whole thing of women don't take accountability, women don't know when they're wrong, things like that. And we do. It's just a lot of women aren't exposed, you know? If we being real, I think both men and women cheat the same way. You know what I'm saying? And it's just an example. I think they both cheat. I think when women are cheated on, they're emotional, they're upset, they're embarrassed. But the embarrassment comes from them telling everybody. They want the man to be exposed. They want sympathy from everyone. Versus the man, when he's cheated on, he keeps it a secret. So a lot of times, women aren't met with that type of level of accountability. You know what I'm saying? You just apologize to your man and y'all just move on and keep everything in-house. So for her to go public and say this, and it's funny because ever since they announced that they were separating, everybody definitely pointed the finger. And then when she started doing strange stuff, we knew girl, you tripping. Go back to your husband. Even when she started trying to dress different and pop out, everybody kind of noticed that was a midlife crisis, or she was seeking attention. You know what I mean? Like she was trying to find a new identity. And I get it. She not the only woman who done been in this situation. And we also got to remember, they've been together for a long time.
No excuses. I repeat, no excuses.
So I understand you want something new. You know, you probably got complacent, or you took your lifestyle that you were living for granted, thinking that the grass is much greener on the other side. Maybe she got bored with the same old thing. Who knows? I just hope that they both can heal from this. I'm not even hoping that they get back together, because I wish they wouldn't have broke up to begin with. And I feel like if he was to take her back, I don't know what that would look like. You know, because now you back in this relationship, and your level of trust has changed drastically because you went out here and you clown, basically. And And it's like you put another human being above me. Like, whoever this dude is, he really played in her face. And that's what men do. Like, they challenge your loyalty. They challenge to see if you're trustworthy or not. They see how far they can get you out. And they gonna let you fall. And that's the price she gotta pay. What y'all think about this?
Yeah, that's the price she has to pay. And the funny thing, any man that gets you to cheat is not going to be there to be with you. Why would he trust you after that? You cheated on your husband, not your boyfriend. Your husband, even if that was your boyfriend, he wouldn't take you serious. Why would I make you mine when you would just turn around and cheat on me? And all of you do this. A lot of women go out there and experiment while they marry, cheat all the time. They don't have any remorse for it until it's too late, until they're going through the pain, until they realize, wow, he was so good with the kids. He actually, in your case, you put a roof over his head, but still, everything else in between, he made sure was tight knit. Because say if you had to go out and do a television shoot of some sort, he made sure the home was in order. He played the mommy role for you. Yes, some cases men have to play the mommy role. He played that role, played it to a T. I commend him for doing that because I couldn't do it. But he did that. She didn't appreciate it. She wanted someone else, a manly man. And that's how she looked at him too. You're staying at home being a homemaker while another man's out there getting money. And she went and cheated with that man. Now you're stuck to your own mistakes that you made.
She belongs to the streets.
It sticks with you. And you're stuck with him. Your husband went on. And you have to think about now. That's your mistake. But yeah, guys, that's what happens. It's a sad case. And I love that it's right here on the internet for a lot of you guys to see. And they're smart. Men have woken up. And men finally realize there's definitely more to life than getting a woman who doesn't think at all. And most modern women, y'all don't think.
Real talk.